Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and happy Friday. All the wonderful women around the world that join me every other Friday for this podcast. I came across recently a topic that I think we all would enjoy, and it's about simple wisdom for women aspiring greatness. And I thought that would be a wonderful conversation for this episode. Now, what is simple wisdom? There are simple things we can all do that will make life so much better, lighter, fun, and fulfilling. And so I share a few of them with you. The first one talks about women having secrets. It says a wise woman has secrets, and you can't be too naked with your love, social or spiritual life, and expect dignity. Not everyone should know what you're going through, and it advises to be a self-contained lady. Now, I'm very familiar with this topic because I remember in corporate, when I was working in corporate, I was sitting at my desk one day and, this young lady came to my desk and she was wiggling around and I was asking her what was going on and she shared something about her um, yeast infection, which I thought was like, oh my God, I didn't need to know that. And so be careful what you're sharing with others. Sometimes within minutes of meeting people, they just spill out everything like we need to know. And it says, be a self contained lady. So please bear that in mind. What you might have in your heart um, can also remain private, especially some of the physical stuff. So the second part, the second advice is a wise woman has surprises. There's beauty in surprise. And it advises not to run around announcing things that are not yet in form. It only destroys their beauty. And when they feel you will suffer unnecessary shame, well, I don't know it's about shame really, but the disappointment is yours, really. And so if you are sharing things ahead, it's like putting um, the cart ahead of the horse. Wait until things are forming and generating. People can tell, how things are going in your world. People can tell when you're glowing. People can tell when something's shifted. And so the advice here is to be a self-contained lady. Surprise people every once in a while. Um, Instead of going to the details of step one, step two, step three, and every step you share with someone, especially people you don't know or people you don't have intimate relationship with. So, bear that in mind. The third thing here, advice, wisdom, says a wise woman is unpredictable. And this is one of my favorite things. People should not know there is both yes and no in your mouth. Your moves and words shouldn't be too obvious. Unpredictability make people take a pause before they do something to you because they don't know how you're going to react. And to me, that is power because it gives you space to assess and strategize what your response is going to be. You can't always, if somebody knows where your weak points are and always knows what your reactions are going to be, the most likely thing is they'll keep poking, right? So be unpredictable sometimes. And it advises to be a deep lady. The fourth wisdom is that a wise woman has few but very meaningful connections. You can't be a friend to everyone and have focus. You cannot be a friend to everyone. It's not possible. I, I don't know, but I just don't think it's possible if you're being authentic. You can't be the organizer in every social activity and be a productive woman. Love all, but a close friend of a few. There are people you can just count on the fingers of your hand that are your close support system that you can call on every time you want to share, you want to laugh, you want to pray together. It's not everyone that fits that mold. The fifth advice is about a woman does less of girls' talk. A wise woman does less of girls' talk. You can't have too much talk and work at the same time. Cheap talks only lead to empty gossips. And when you're gossiping, you're shallow. It says this, right? A gossiping woman is a shallow woman. What are you gossiping about? Because we all have a lot to deal with if we're really, really doing our work. And if we're doing our work, you won't have time to look at somebody else's stuff. Trust me. There's so much to do. There's so much to learn. There's so much to absorb. There's so much to work through. There isn't time to be talking about somebody else. And so please bear that in mind. The sixth thing is a wise woman has time for herself. Self-love. You can't understand yourself better until you create time for yourself. Create time to see your weaknesses and work on them. Have time for self-correction, lady, it says. Now, if you're doing the inner work, it is pressing to really spend time with yourself and give yourself love. And it takes a lot. It's not something you just do one time and it's over. It's something you work on continuously. And I share with my clients even about body work and doing the inner work, mirror work, and using self-reflecting tools to really get deep, to get to know who you truly are. And knowing who you truly are sets the bar to what you experience out there. And so it's very, very, very important to have time for yourself, pamper yourself, do the things for yourself first, and then everyone else. And I know this. Sometimes some people will say you're being selfish. If you're being called being selfish, when you are self-loving, know that you're doing the right thing. Now, the seventh wisdom is something that I talk about quite often. And it says that a wise woman interacts with God. Inner work, the relationship with Source, and doing your spiritual practice daily is essential to having the peace and joy and abundance in your life. And some of these things are not tangible, right? You can't just touch it and it's right there. But when you develop that connection, deep connection with spirit, you know your intuition goes way up and you get the guidance you need in very difficult challenges. You know you have some peace and your knowing is assured. You remember times when people ask you, how do you know something? And you can come out right off the bat and say, I just know. But you know because you're tuned in and you understand firsthand. There are no intermediaries where you know what your source is telling you and you can rely on it. And you cannot have the highest wisdom, the highest level of wisdom until you interact with its source. And the most successful women, I'll tell you, have this type of connection, some connection. It doesn't matter what form you practice. It is essential to your success in everything you do. It's like breathing. It's like taking air. Can you imagine not having air? Because if you're not breathing, you're not here. You're dead. Sorry to be frank about this, but inner practice and connecting to spirit is fundamental to your success. And so as we go forward on this journey, I want to reiterate the lessons here, that you must be a self-contained lady. You must be a self-controlled lady. You have to be deep in your unpredictability and loving just but a few close friends. You can't afford to be shallow. You have to have a time for self-correction and love. And once again, to connect to source deeply. And it says, give God time. And I ask for God's blessings for all of you, for sharing our messages, our conversations. And I ask God's blessings for every step you take into the future. Be a woman of power and grace, loving yourself first, and then everyone else. And please join our self-reflection platform. I'll put the link in here. Subscribe, share, and join the conversation as women of power and grace. And as we join together, we embrace the divine feminine within us first, and then outwardly to everyone else, to bless ourselves first and the world. And as we do this, we bless creation. We bless our children. We bless Mother Earth. Thank you for joining me this Friday. I love you all. Many, many blessings.